In this video, I'll be showing you how you can set up your payment buttons with PayPal so that licenses are automatically generated and sent to your users, and how you can set up your redirect URLs, and how you can configure and edit, if you want to edit, the email that actually gets sent out to your users as well. So the very first thing to do, guys, is come over to config.php. Let's open this up and let's go down to this area here. So this area here is what works with PayPal and what works with your Buy Now button. As long as your Buy Now button confirms with the details you have in here, it's gonna work. So anyway, we have an item name. Now this is a name that you're gonna call your tool. So for this example, I've called it KT. And when we actually create the PayPal button, we don't need to go into PayPal to create it, by the way. But when we actually create the PayPal button and add it to our web page, then we're gonna have to note this down here as well. Now these are your price points, guys. So as you can see, I had one price point down here, 0.01, which means it's 1 penny or 1 cent. And I've done this so we can actually test orders, just to make sure my PayPal Buy Now button's working as well. You got a special price, you got a launch price, you got another price, you got yet another price on here as well. These can all be different prices, guys, and these can all control the price for your front end or your developer license. And I'll be showing you how to control all that when you add your button. So anyway, add your price points down here, add an item number down here as well, add an email address, your PayPal primary email address, so your primary email address that's going to be accepting the PayPal payment, so other people are going to be paying you to get a license, so that email they're going to be paying to needs to be added here. And you can leave everything else alone. Don't need to touch anything else. Just add these up here and set them, guys. Okay, once you've set them, with the download, I've just actually been talking to our developer, and you're going to have another file in here now called ipnbuttoncode.txt. Okay, now this is going to have an example of how the button code looks. Now I've got mine opened up here. Okay, and you can. It's got some HTML tags in here, but that's because we had it as a .html file. Okay, so here it is, PayPal button. What we need to do here now, guys, is there's a few areas we need to edit in here. So the very first one is the value here where it says your email at email.com. Add your email address in here. So ahmedravji@gmail.com, and this needs to be exactly the same email address that you're entering in here as well. Okay, and then down here, you've got the currency value, which is USD, US dollars. Leave that as is, guys. You're normally working with US dollars anyway. And now you've got the name of your tool. This is going to be the name that you're going to be calling your tool, for example. So if it was HQ Suggest, I'd call it HQ Suggest. Okay, let's just say HQ Suggest. Okay, HQ Suggest. And this here, item number, this is the number that you enter inside of your config file here as well, or the item name. So for example here, we've called it KT. Okay, so we're going to change this here, where it says name as entered in config file. I'm going to call this KT, and it's case sensitive as well. Now this is the amount, this is the actual value, guys. Now this is 0.01p, so anyone that buys with this, they're going to be able to buy, because in my config file I've got that set as one of the price points. However, if this was changed to 0.02p, then it's not going to work and it's not going to issue a license. And the reason behind that is because the config file hasn't been set up for that. So you got to make sure whatever prices you're putting down here are already noted in the config file. Okay, and then this item here where it says notify_URL, this needs to be the IPN URL. So have a look here, guys. We've got an IPN.php file. We uploaded that to our server, so it needs to be the URL to this IPN file. So for this example, we're going to have aravji.com. I'll actually change this with in front of you here. We'll have this here. It'll be aravji.co.uk/keyword tool/ipn.php. And then this one here is after a user's paid, what URL would you like them to be redirected to? So this would be, if you're selling them a standard version, then this would be the URL to your OTO, to your upsell, to the developer's license. If they're buying the developer's license, then this might be a URL redirect to a thank you page or join my list page. And this one here, guys, is a URL for a button. So whatever button you want to show. So you might already have your own button. If you do have your own button, then that's fine. You just change this source here to whatever button that you've actually got on your page. Okay, so this is how simple it is, guys, and this is how easy it is to actually work with this. Now, when it comes to working and issuing, okay, then obviously you'd save this over to your sales page, and it'll be set up to work with your PayPal and your licensed client, your redirect URLs as well. Okay, and in order to enter this actually works with both standard licenses and developer licenses. And the way that you can actually set up a button for a developer license is in the item name inside the PayPal button code. So this code here, you must make sure that you have developers license added in there. So no matter what it is, so you can have your item name, whatever your name of your application is, you can have whatever you want, but the name needs to have developer's license inside of it, and it's case sensitive as well. So it needs to have an uppercase D and an uppercase L. So whatever you call the application to when you're creating a buy now button, if you want to sell and you want to configure that buy now button so it enters a developer's license, then you need to make sure that the name has developer's license in it anywhere, and if it's not a developer's license and it's a standard license, then you just make sure that it doesn't have developer's license in there, and it'll automatically be entered as a standard license. So anyway, this is how you can configure your PayPal buttons, guys. You don't need to go into PayPal, you don't need to configure anything inside of PayPal. You just configure the PayPal button here, and you make sure it works with your IPN, it works with your config PHP file, and that's all you need to do, guys. Now, when you're actually sending out emails, or when the system sends out emails, then it sends out emails using 3 files, and the reason it uses 3 files is because sometimes licenses are added through the IPN script, sometimes they're added through the license client, and sometimes other ways. So anyway, the files that it uses is email.php. So if we come down here, as you can see, we've got the email and everything that we send over to your users. Now, you don't really want to mess around with this if you don't need to, guys, because it is actually configured and set up so that you should be totally happy to go ahead and start working with it. It says thank you for your order, and then it's got some PHP coding in there, which is like line breaks, and it's got please read the following very carefully, line breaks, your license details, and it's got some variables in there that take your details or your customer's details from the database. So you don't really want to be messing with this, but if you know some PHP and you want to customize some of it, or maybe you find some spelling errors, then you can come into these and you can make some changes anyway. So this is the email.php file is used, guys. The IPN PHP file is also used as well, which you can see here, and there's one more last file that's used is reg.php, which you can see just here. Other than that, guys, there's nothing else that you're going to need to configure in here. Check.php you don't need to ever touch. Config.php we've already been through that. Email.php we've been through that. IPN.php, guys, you don't need to touch the IPN. Oh, sorry, we've already been through the IPN PHP as well, haven't we? Okay, license.php, that's another one I don't think you ever need to touch. Yeah, you don't need to touch your license.php, guys, because this works with adding your standard license, free license, or developer's license, and it checks your machine IDs and whatnot you as well. So anyway, guys, that's exactly how you configure everything. It's super simple, super straightforward, as long as you know what you're doing, and I'm really hoping that these video tutorials have made it as simple as I'm hoping it's been as simple for me to understand and explain as well. So anyway, if you have any issues, we're only support email away, and we'll be more than happy to help you. So just get in contact with us, but I'm hoping that you should be able to get everything configured with the details that I've given in these videos. Thank you very much.